Up for Poulin. Look at Poulin streaking in. Great move to the net. Scores! There's one for the highlight reel by Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Marie-Philippe Poulin was raised in the small city of Beauceville, and her love of the game of hockey would begin with her older brother Pierre-Alexander. Their bond would be the catalyst for Marie-Philippe's impact on the women's game. At the age of 10, the Canada-USA women's gold medal final at Salt Lake City would change the life of Marie-Philippe, and she'd follow in the footsteps of that 2002 gold medal team. At 16 years of age, Marie-Philippe joined the Canadian national team program and became one of the most decorated players in the world. The 2010 Olympics would thrust Marie-Philippe into the spotlight, and she never looked back. She was the youngest player on Canada's national team, and in the gold medal final, Marie-Philippe would score both of Canada's goals in a 2-0 victory over the Americans. She followed that up at the 2014 Sochi Olympics, scoring the game-tying goals as well as the game-winning goal in overtime, earning her a second straight gold medal. Her dominance in the game has since continued. At the 2020 NHL All-Star Game, she led Team Canada to victory at the inaugural Elite Women's 3-on-3 competition. Marie-Philippe Poulin will be named Best Current Female Hockey Player in a poll conducted by the NHLPA, and her Olympic heroics would inspire a new generation of female hockey players.
Well, I am very pleased to welcome Marie-Philippe Poulin to the show. You are a great get, as they say for us, because you are such a star and you are so busy. So thank you, first of all, for joining the show. And, I'm just going to ask you sort of for an overview, Marie-Philippe, of the last year. It's been just over a year since everything collapsed, literally. What's it been like for you?
It's been different for sure. I think in a way, a little bit of a challenge, but in a good way. Obviously, like last year, like you mentioned, a year ago, the Worlds got canceled. So for us, it's a big tournament. Like obviously, we trained for that moment. Having got canceled was a little bit of a bummer. And obviously, I didn't think it was going to be a whole year around that. It's going to be no hockey. But I think you learn. You learn a lot about yourself, about going through adversity. You change the way you train. You got to adapt. And obviously, like just not taking anything for granted. That's something I learned a lot, because obviously from one day to the other, you can't do whatever you love the most. And I think just living to the fullest. And that's something that I've been doing for last year.
Well, I'm talking to you just as you've arrived back home from Halifax, where Team Canada met for a training camp in anticipation of the Worlds, which have now been moved to May. So how was camp? How was it being with everybody finally after all this time?
To be honest, it felt pretty good. It was a long time coming, but just having that week together. I think we all trained on our own. I was in Montreal. A lot of the girls were on their own. So obviously being back together, being able to play with the best, like obviously we want to be out there with your teammates. And I think that was a great week. Obviously it's a little bit different. The protocol are quite different, but obviously just being out there with your teammate, being able to push each other and knowing that the World Championship is coming up soon. I think it was great, and hopefully we're going to keep going that way.
I think there are going to be a lot of questions in this interview that are going to come back to you as a leader and you as a captain. And I'm wondering what the role of captain is in times like this, when actually you don't have a cohesive unit, you don't even have each other in person. So how do you exercise leadership from afar and in unique situations like this?
To be honest, I'm not alone. I think we have a great leadership group with Hockey Canada, and we're 6 of us that are in communication a lot of time. And I think obviously over the last year, Hockey Canada made a lot of Zoom calls where we're able to connect and be able to know what everyone was doing. But I think in terms of leadership, I think you just try to still be yourself and not try to do too much as well. Obviously, everyone is going through a lot of different things. You adapt. You go through COVID during this tough time really differently. Everybody's really different. So obviously for us, we just try to really connect with every teammate to make sure everyone is okay. And obviously, like, we trust that everyone is doing the work for us to be ready to go in May. But as a leadership, I think we have a great group, and we have great also like people that really helped us, like obviously Gina Kingsbury being in charge, Cassie Campbell, that really helps us through it all. And I think we're really lucky to be surrounded with great women that really paved the way for all of us.
Well, we'll come back to your leadership and your captaincy, but I want to know where it all stems from. when you were young, well, first of all, your family is everything, right? I know you grew up skating and emulating your brother. So talk about your relationship with him and how he encouraged you along the way.
Yeah, my brother has a big part to where I am today. Obviously, I really followed his footstep. For me, I was just a little sister following her big brother, and I remember like just going to every game he was playing and really being so focused on every little details he was doing on the ice and really watching his team. And I remember all the little girls running around in the rink, and I would just be sitting between my parents and just being so involved in watching and just learning the game. And obviously my parents saw it right away that hockey was really my passion, and obviously I was lucky enough to that they gave me the opportunity to try, and they knew right away. But my brother really like taught me from the training aspect, from the off ice training, from on ice training. Like hockey is a big part of my family, but that relationship that I have with my brother is special. We have a bond over hockey. We communicate a lot, and I think that's what makes it special. Like when I have a bad game or bad moments, I'm able to pick up that phone and talk to him. I'm not the one who's gonna speak up the most, but I think when I know he watched the game, he's the one that's gonna point out a little bit things I should do better. But I think that's kind of where I grew up and how he kind of taught me about being the person I am today.
What about your parents? Tell me about them.
How much time do we have? I think they're no, but I think they have a big part to me and my brother's career. They taught us a lot. I didn't come from a wealthy family. They would work two different jobs at a time to make sure that we were able to play hockey. They knew it was our passion, and my mom going with my brother, my dad going with me, and meeting in the middle for a little picnic on the side, because obviously we're not able to go to the restaurant as much as the team would go. And if we would go, I remember my parents telling us that it will be one glass of water, one meal, and that's it. When you see all your teammates going for a little Pepsi, the dessert, the appetizer, but at that age you don't realize. But I think when I take a step back, and when you go to tournaments where we're the one eating in the parking lot when everyone is going to restaurant, and when you're young you don't realize you're kind of missing out on things. But as you get older, we have the chance to, when me and my brother have the chance to talk about our when we're young, I think it makes it even special. I think they really did everything for us to make sure we were playing the sport we love the most. And again, today they're going to do everything for us and really helped us out in where we are today.
And now you are providing the inspiration for so many to come. Generations now know your name. For you, it was the 2002 Olympics when the Canadian women won gold, and that was the aha moment for you. Tell me about watching those Olympics and what it did to propel your love of the game.
Very special. Like where I come from, there was not many girls playing hockey, so obviously having the chance to see it on TV at that moment in 2002. I remember watching it in the living room with my mom, and it was a crazy game. Like the Canada was losing, Kim St. Pierre was making unbelievable saves, and they were down. They came back and they won. And I remember seeing them on the blue line and obviously winning for the gold medal, and everyone was kind of tearing up, crying like of joy, obviously. And at that moment, I'm a little bit young, not too sure what's happening. And I remember turning to my mom, I was like, why are they crying? And she looked at me like, one day you'll know if you work hard. And like, I remember that moment in 2010, obviously, when I was lucky enough to get that gold medal and crying myself. It kind of just put two together how much work it takes. Those ladies like are able to do the work and put it on the ice, but also off the ice, and how much they involve. That's something that's very special.
I think that's a really good point. I think that's something that I don't know if it's a weight or a burden, but it's something that you and the women who've come before you and who will come after, until there's actually a level of equity and equality in the game, until everybody's able to make a living doing what they have to do, that they want to do, it's actually like you have to be conscious to bring the next generation along. Do you feel that?
Yeah, for sure. I think like where we're at right now, women's hockey, obviously we want to keep going, want to grow the game even more. But knowing what they did for us, that's what we want to do for the next generation. We want to push forward for having that league, for not only for them to dream to be part of the national team, but also dream to be part of the PWHP, or dream to be part of that league. And that's something that's huge. We're lucky enough to have the 4 years university, but then after, then what? And that's where that gap is. We want to have that league for that future generation to keep playing and to have that equity that you pay and that we want eventually.
Inspiring young girls and women, as you do with the camp with Caro. Also, you're part of the Team Rogers community draft, and you'll be talking to lots of young girls who want to know how you got where you did. How important is that to you, knowing that you can provide that inspiration?
Right, it's so important. But I think it's kind of an honor, to be honest, knowing that those little girls can look up to all of us and being that role model. It's something that's so huge. And I think I've seen a lot of your interview, and a lot of us can say, like, if you can see it, you can be it, or you can dream it. And that's something a lot of the women's sport really go through, and we believe in it. And I think, like, if little girls that are able to see it, they can actually be it and they can dream it. And for all of us, I think for me, like, it's knowing that I wake up in the morning, going to the gym, going play hockey, which what I love the most, is something that knowing that those little girls can see, I just take pride in it. It's something that is very special to me, and knowing that one of them for that little girl is very special. Like, knowing that I go on the ice and come out and you see those little girls in the stands, like with those big eyes, with that spark in their eyes, it's something that makes me want to play even harder, makes me want to go out there and play for them. And that's something that's very powerful.
The future seems to be coming closer, but we know we're not quite there yet. But the Dream Gap Tour is underway, and we've seen what production can look like, what a televised game can look like, and how important that is. You have a Barbie. So, I mean, you have a presence in a very interesting space. Are these all signs that we're really getting there?
We are getting there. I think the last couple of weekends also with the PWHPA having that those games like on TV, having the support on social media, having the people, the NHL guys wearing that sweater, having that support. I think it's getting there. I think we're having big step towards that big goal. I think we're going to keep going. I think knowing that every game we got to put the best foot forward. We know that we can't not just go play just for fun. We got to put that best product on the ice, because obviously, sadly, in women's sport, we got to prove ourselves day after day to make sure that people value us. And I think we believe in our product, and I think that's going to be huge in the next years.
I'm wondering what you think when you hear things like Angela James is the Wayne Gretzky of women's hockey. Marie-Philippe Poulin is the Sidney Crosby of women's hockey. Is that okay? Are you okay with that comparison? Or do you just want to be or do you want Sidney Crosby to be the Marie-Philippe Poulin of men's hockey?
I believe that Angela James is the Wayne Gretzky, but I don't know about the others. But I think obviously it's an honor to hear that, but I think for me it's waking up in the morning. I just want to be myself and just give the best I can be and help other players and make the other players want me better. That's something I value a lot. And to be honest, I've never ever thought I would hear that like in my life. But those are great compliments, but it's not gonna just stop me. Like, I want more. Like, when you taste that gold medal, you want it even more. And that's something that drives me day after day.
What about hearing Marie-Philippe Poulin is my favorite hockey player? Not my favorite female hockey player. I mean, I think when I start hearing things like that, which I do now, that's a sign to me that things are shifting. Would you agree?
100%. I think that's huge. And I think even when you see athletes like talking about that, when I remember watching Andy Murray an interview saying that he's the first athlete making the final is the male athletes, because there's females also. And that's something that's huge when you see those like high-end athletes realizing that females are there too. And I think that's huge. And I think we're making big steps, not only in hockey, but all in the sports. We're in this together. I think all the women's involved, we all want to push for the same thing. That's something that is so powerful.
So when you're talking to a team of girls, what's your message to them? if I'm, you're talking to an Adam team, they're 8 years old and they want to know how to proceed and what the future is going to look like for them, what do you say?
Obviously, there's no perfect paths. I think everyone's going to go their different ways, but I think that having that dream, I think having that goal and knowing what you want and just having fun through it all. Obviously, there's going to be moments where it's going to be very hard, but if you're determined, if you're passionate about what you do and you're having fun, I think there's always a way to make it to your big goals. And that's something I would tell. But and during that process, and not to never give up. I feel nowadays, obviously, like things gets a little bit harder. We have moments where you want to give up, but to never give up and just having fun at the same time, it's something that's very important.
So if you were talking to a young Marie-Philippe Poulin, this is where we leave all of our guests, what do you say to you specifically?
I think to enjoy the process a little bit more. Obviously, like I was lucky enough to be in hockey at such a young age, and you're so focused to your big dream, but you kind of forget about that relationship and those friendship a little bit. And I think taking care of that and can be very useful, but I think enjoying it and also like focusing on yourself a little bit more. Sometimes I used to kind of compare yourself also. I feel now you see on social media, you see everybody what they're doing and you kind of compare, am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I enough? But just being able to focus on yourself and be proud of yourself, be confident, it's something that I would probably tell myself at a young age.
Are you proud of yourself?
Getting there.
Man, I mean, you should be. You really should be. Thank you so much for this. It's always a joy.
Thank you.